So with our lovely little Miss M, we're going to work a little bit with going to our target. So this could be, again, little dog bed, blanket. Yes. So I just want her to think that every time she places her little body on here, good things happen. Nice job, cuteness. If your puppy, again, is very eager and they're a little bit wiggly, don't worry if it's more so just kind of walking and touching the target with any part of their body. I just want her to start thinking good things, again, happen while we're on our target mat. So this is, again, going to be the beginning stages, eventually having like a stay position or the ability to kind of work on relaxation. So bed, and then yes to feed. So again, as she's doing well, you'll notice that I'm feeding her typically for being just on the mat. So again, we might go bed, and then yes to feed. So as she gets more cozy, I might throw in a sit or work some downs on there. She's like, how about a sit here? Obviously, whenever she gives you something really nice, feed for the little glimmers of the behaviors you'd like to have happen again. I know I've mentioned it prior. She's like, woohoo, yes, nice job. Is that when your pup gives you little glimmers into the correct things you'd like to have happen again, view each of these little behaviors or skills or cues is having a bank account. So I'm just doing a couple little find its just to get her warmed up and doing some movement. So the benefit of thinking about every position or every skill set as having a bank account is that a lot of times when people say, oh, my puppy is terrible at doing this or doing that, a lot of what's going on is the pup doesn't have much of an association of that having value. So if, let's say, some behaviors have been paired with something scary or yucky, then that also helps ruin that behavior for later down the road. So if you're finding, we're just warming up with a couple little find its for our little wild woman. So if you're finding that your babes are not doing well with something, think to yourselves, how often have I actually reinforced or worked that skill? So if you're finding, like, for example, recalls with Mr. M, you haven't really been able to practice them in a way that makes sense to him or that has helped him build up the recall as a good thing to try and keep working towards, then that would be something that we have to assess. How much have we put into that, bank account of a recall? So again, bed, and then yes. So then she's getting cozy. We might get our little sits. She's like, guys, I'm so excited. Yes. Oh, that's okay. No worries. What are you trying to do, Eva? Oh, on the butterfly? Sorry, my little one is also here typically doing her thing on the other side when she doesn't feel like helping out on this side. Well, maybe they just don't fit so well together, and that's okay. Oh, okay. Well, then just keep trying. So for our little Miss M, what I was doing a little bit right there is feeding for when she's on the mat, but then seeing if I could get a little sit from her and then feed several little snacks while she's stuck in her sit. So this is, again, just the beginning stages of getting comfortable on the mat and maybe working a little bit with that stay behavior for down the road. So if you're starting this off, I would just go ahead and just feed for any body position, again, that we mentioned earlier on the mat, and then let her sneak on off. But then the only time she gets fed is, again, while she's on her bed. So right here, yes, nice. Great job. So the reason I do several little feeds is I want her to start, again, creating a lot of good associations with the target mat, and then also that a lot of the fun happens while you're on it, not off of it. So for a lot of puppies, relaxation or taking a break and sort of settling are not typically on the top of their list. And for a lot of puppies, they will go until they're out of fuel. So we want to start practicing where, as opposed to running out of fuel and then waiting for your puppy to crash and burn at the very end where no one's having a good time, is make sure that you're practicing revving or putting the gas on and then putting the brakes on and taking little breathers. If we're go until we're out of fuel, then no one's really practiced slowing down or pausing. So if, let's say, she's off her mat, I might go bed. Yes, and feed for that. And let's say we're going to try a little bit with the stay behavior. I'm going to have her sit her down. I'm going to tell her to stay. And now I'm going to feed rapid fire a couple little crumbs while she's in her sit stay. So again, I only say the stay word one time. If my puppy broke, which means she gets up and wiggles, then I would reapply my stay behavior. So now I'm going to let her finish eating. I'm going to say, all done. And if your puppy doesn't dislike touch, you could add some touch. If she gets mouthy and she's a little confused, you don't have to add the touch if it's a little bit uncomfortable or overwhelming for her. So then we're going to go, again, bed, and then go yes to feed. Then we're going to go into our little sit. Yes, feed for that lovely position. And now what I'm going to try to do is feed several snacks while she's in her stay. So I like to, again, have these snacks itty bitty little crumbs. So again, stay. And her little hot dog pieces are awesome, but I then broke them up into like 3 to 4 more little pieces. So remember that a lot of times attention spans for puppies are very short. So you see that I kind of lost her. So this is where I would try again. Mabel's hoping that I threw them. And I would regain her attention, get another little sit, and now try again, stay. And then again, rapid fire, feed a couple little reps as she's holding this sit stay. Then before I lose her, I feed her last snack. Then I'd go, all done. And then what I do is I wiggle my fingers, but I don't feed for the release. So with stay, you want to think about it, yes, as like freeze tag with room service. So all the fun happens when you're stuck on your mat, when you get off of it. Not that it's not a great time to go explore and be free, but I want her to think that there's value in going and placing on the target, which means that we want to feed her only while she's on it if you're working a place behavior with the stay. Stays, again, like I mentioned earlier, in one of the other videos, is stays can happen anywhere, just like your weight, but I don't do my weights from this dog bed or target. This is where I would just use my stay for the beds, because I want my puppy to think the value is in being stationary. So think about stay as in freeze tag with room service, and for example, stay like a statue, or stay for safety / against stationary stay. So lots of great ways to remember that stay is for not moving. If I lose her, because she's like, woohoo, my baby, I'm going to regain her attention, get another little sit. Yes, feed for that first little setup, and now tell her once more, stay, and see if she can hold it for like 1 or 2 more little reps. And then before I lose her, because again, she's a babe, let her have her last little snack for the stay, then all done. And now we get up and we wiggle. But the only time she gets, again, her reinforcement is while she's on her target. So right here, I might go, yes, and then feed for that placement, even though, again, she's doing it on her own, which is splendid. So let's say she goes and places a little bit off the mat, no big deal. I might go again, bed. She's like, but my brain melted. And then if, let's say, she's having a hard time, you can also feed right on the target. I love her little pounce. So another option too is if, let's say, the bed is not as exciting for your puppy, you can also just do simple find its on the target. So let's say, for example, she's been having a hard time maybe targeting the mat. You could also just do some foraging on the mat to build up value with some simple find it behaviors. So again, we might go again, find it, and then toss a couple goodies on the mat and just have it be easy peasy, fun place to go check out. Ebba's saying her thing is not being easy. Well, Mabel's doing a very good job with her place behavior. So, but we'll give little Miss M a little breather from some of the place and a little bit with the stay, and they'll work a few other little skills. But she's doing it. Oh, I can come help you too, Ebba. So right here, nice. Of course, you saw the crumb that fell. But nice job, Miss M. So I'm going to feed again a couple little snacks just for being on her target, and we'll give her a little break.